First question I have, does everybody know what a punter is? Ask the person next to you if you don't know what a punter is. I'm very excited to be here. Congratulations, how excited. I didn't graduate from University of Tennessee. I didn't have time. Went to the pros and came back and had to raise a family and had to learn life through the hard knocks. But people ask me all the time, they say, how did this happen? How did it end up being 4 punters? You started it, your nephew, and then now your sons, and now you've got 6 grandsons that could be punters, and you have 3 granddaughters that'll be their agents. So how did this all happen? And I tell them one word, and that word is humility. And with that being said, I want to ask everybody here, are there any Dallas Cowboy fans in the crowd? Are there any Ram fans in the crowd? With great humility, I tell you, these Super Bowl rings are for you. I guess the emphasis there, you can't run out on the high school, college football field without being a little dingbattish and crazy. So humility doesn't fit. You've got to have an ego when that gun goes off until the end of the game. But there's a lot of things I've learned over time, and one of the things I've learned is communication skills are critical. Listening to people, talking to people, telling them your point of view, and making sure they understand. And a great example of that is I was in the basement with my 2 sons that are 37 and 34 now. They were 7 and 4 at the time. And they were watching cartoons, and I was a little emotional because my career is over. And I felt like I needed to be generous or communicate with them, the 7 and the 4-year-old. And I looked at them and I got their attention and I said, boys, when I die, these rings are for you. The youngest, Britton, who's 34, looked at me and he said, Dad, can I watch cartoons? Well, it sank through what I was saying because about an hour later, I'm up in the kitchen making sandwiches, and Britton, the 4-year-old, comes up and he's tugging on my shirt. And I looked down and said, hey, Britton, what's going on? And he looks up at me with all sincerity and he says, Dad, when are you going to die? Who knows Jack Lambert here? Anybody got a visualization of Jack Lambert? I'm not going to talk a lot of education things, but what I do want you to do is listen to what I am saying, because there's something inside what I'm saying. Ayn Rand, author, writes these incredible novels, and you get something out of what's in there, and that's where I hope to progress in my commencement as I'm starting my new life. But Jack Lambert, let me give you a visual. I've got a picture of him. He's got his helmet on. It's a headshot, and he's smiling, and he doesn't have any teeth in the front of his face. So I'm looking at that guy, and I go, this is a leader. This is a football player. This is the person I want to follow. He will guard me till the ends of my career. One day, we're punting and playing in Pittsburgh, and we're playing against the Atlanta Falcons, and I'm a directional punter. I hope you understand what punting is. If you don't know, it's where the guy snaps a ball between his legs, another guy catches it, and he kicks it. That's a punter. Very educated, very brilliant people we are. But anyway, I'm kicking the ball to the right, designated kicker, want to kick it as close to the sidelines as possible, and I hit it well. But it starts curving, and it curves all the way back across the field, and the punt returner, Billy White Shoes Johnson, runs a 4.3 He's the first clocked NFL player to run a 4.3 40, and I know this. That's why I'm kicking it way over here. But the ball doesn't know that. The ball is coming back all the way across the field. So Billy catches the ball in full stride, and he's coming up the sidelines, and I'm seeing him juking, and he's getting closer, and I'm starting to panic, and all I can hear is Coach Noel, my coach, talking about, careers being over and things like that. But anyway, he gets tackled, and I feel so relieved. But all of a sudden, I get hit, and I'm knocked into the sidelines. I get up, and I'm mad, and I want to give this guy what I think. And I run up, I get right in his face, and I look up into his face, and I thought for myself for a second, what do I say? And I said, "Good hit." Just as I said that, a black and gold flash takes that body out in front of my vision. And I'm going, oh my gosh. And I look and it's Jack Lambert. I'm so excited. I want to thank him and tell him how glad I'm to be a Pittsburgh Steelers. I didn't mention this my rookie year. So excited to be here. Jack runs up, and I can tell he's going to just said, "Craig, I'll take care of you. Don't worry about it." He looked me in the face and he said, "Punter, get off the field." I get fan mail from all over the world, and that's very exciting to me. I have 5 bubblegum cards, and I even created a card for folks that don't have cards that they send to me that want me to sign them. And I'm really happy to do it. I take pains to do it. But I also had a card made up to sign and put in the envelope that has my favorite Bible verse on it. So I went to a little length, a little extra expense to do that. But it's amazing what people send in the mail, the lengths they go to get autographs, to follow their heroes, so to speak. And I'm no different. I've got heroes in the NFL. Jack Lambert was my hero. And Terry Bradshaw, the quarterback, was my hero. Terry was so much of a hero of mine, I decided to look like him. I know you're all already thinking that, so I thought I'd get it out. All right, here's where I get serious. I graduated from high school to 2.3 grade point average. I made a 12 on my ACT, so I couldn't even get into the University of Tennessee. So for 2 years, I just kind of worked around. Don't want to disclose a lot of things that were going on back then, but I was learning life. So for 2 years, I worked, and finally working at a department store, and the University of Tennessee puts an ad in the paper for punters, of all things, punters to want to walk on. So I answered the ad, and being able to walk on, the first year I didn't get a scholarship, so my parents had to pay $429 a semester. $429, that's back when gasoline was 50 cents a gallon. But it's relevant, the cost of things. But what I became through life and what I learned and what I want you to hear me say is, what is success to you? Do you think you have enough? I think you have enough. And one of the motivational speakers I follow, guy's name is Jim Rohn. And Jim Rohn said, formal education will make you a living. Self-education will make you a fortune. I recommend both, education, self-education. I spent a lot of years really wondering, where's the money going to come from at the end of the month, but was very lucky later on to meet up with some guys and put together a company where we're very successful. And what I'm saying by that, at that time I was 55 years of age. Now I'm 65 years of age. And I leave out the word I'm 65 years old. I'd say now I'm 65 years young, because I don't want the old man to get in. And I don't want you all to think in your lives you can't do something. Because one of the great things is this is the United States of America, and we're free to do what we want within the law, do the right thing. And the experience I've had over the years is I did a lot of the wrong things, but I'm still here. So I think in my mind, God's got a place for me, what I should do with the rest of my life. And the pressure, let me tell you the pressure of the National Football League. There's a joke in the National Football League where everybody says instead of it being National Football League, it's not for long. So there's pressure. As soon as you get drafted, I was drafted and there's no cushion. I still had to work. But you always have that pressure. It's there. You're going to have that pressure. But the pressure is the opportunity. Opportunities come from how you design your own life. You're designing your life right now, and I'm excited to have this in. I've never spoken in front of a commencement. And when Dr. Faulkner asked me, I went, I'm not qualified. But the more I thought about it, I thought, 65 years young, I've gone through a lot with 9 grandbabies and 2 sons that played at the University of Tennessee who used to drive us nuts, by the way. I've got a lot of experience. So I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to say to you that my guidepost, and I want to cut it short because I know y'all are excited. My guidepost is Philippians 4, 6 through 8. And picture Paul of Tarsus in a cell, chained to a Roman guard, could get his head cut off at any time. Caesar hates him because he's talking about another god, talking about a king. So he could die at any time. And the first thing Paul says is don't be anxious. 2,000 years ago, he's saying, don't be anxious. Well, I've spent my life pretty anxious, but when I found these verses, don't be anxious, but in everything with prayer and supplication, let your request be made known to God, and the peace of God that transcends all human understanding will guard your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus. Finally, brothers and sisters, think on things that are good, true, beautiful, wonderful. He was the first motivational speaker. Don't be anxious. How do you get to that level? Through prayer and petition. And finally, here's how you think. I've had back surgery. If I let myself go, I'll go negative, but I will not do that. Again, I'm very excited to be here with you to say these few words, but Philippians 4, 6 through 8, memorize them like I did. It'll help you in many regards. And the part it says about transcends all human understanding, I want you to think about the pond you may have seen coming over here for the commencement. It's not even moving, it's still. This earth is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour at 74,000 miles an hour around a star that's 1,000,000 degrees. This is not an accident. You're not an accident. I love you. Congratulations. And again, thank you.